Good evening, folks. Please make your way to the tent. Our program will begin momentarily. Please start making your way to the tent. Our program is going to begin momentarily.
Good evening, everyone. And on behalf of WS Development and the Boston Seaport neighborhood, it's a pleasure to welcome you all to the neighborhood and to this event. It's a really terrific evening. We're very grateful for all of your presence. And we're very excited as a neighborhood and as an organization to host Boston Uncornered Milestones Gala this year in the Seaport. So welcome, everybody. I'd like just to start very briefly by thanking my fellow host committee members. I'm sorry in advance if I forget anyone, but Jarrell Langerman, Jim McDonough, Summer Williams, Rachel Rock, give it up, Kevin Niebler, thank you, and Board Chair Mike OToole. Thank you all for making this evening such a great success. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Had a chance to say hi to Mitsubishi Electric and Suffolk Construction, Turner Construction, and a variety of the other folks who have been here this evening. Thank you all very, very much. Would like to say thank you also to the staff from Uncornered, Debbie, Michelle, Tito, Mark, and all of your colleagues. Thank you all very, very much. And also thank you to Miriam Michelle, and who's here somewhere running it all, and Emily Sukas from our team on the Boston Seaport team for keeping us all on track and on task for the event. So thank you. Just a few words of background. As we stand here this evening in what is Boston's newest neighborhood, we can very much appreciate Boston Uncornered's mission of transforming the city we all love, one neighborhood, one block, one corner at a time, by focusing on one person and one story at a time. And tonight, of course, is about individuals and about individual stories, but most importantly, it's about community. And it's about the sense of community and a love for this city that we all feel and we all share. And as you'll see on the screens, 2 weeks ago, WS Development, along with Boston Uncornered, debuted the Uncornered Photo Project, featuring the Boston mayoral candidates and a number of other key personalities from around the city, right around the corner at one of our parks. And we welcomed Mayor Janey to the event, and we shared her perspective that she expressed in her opening remarks. A perspective that Boston is a city of neighborhoods, and neighborhoods are made up of people with a story to tell. And most of those incredible stories, or many of those incredible stories, are being told as part of this photo exhibit. We hope you'll all take a few minutes to visit if you haven't already seen it. Of course, we hosted it last year on Seaport Common, and this year again in the neighborhood. So as we look ahead to tonight's event, you'll get to hear more about the amazing work that Boston Uncornered has been doing, especially during the pandemic, during these trying times, and some of the new things that are in store for the organization in the near future. And it's a pleasure and a privilege for us in the Seaport to partner with Boston Uncornered and to be here with all of you. And just to continue our evening, I'd like to turn it over to our event host, Pro Football Hall of Fame broadcaster, Andrea Kremer. Andrea, thank you.
Thank you, Yanni. It's a pleasure to be here, and I feel like with this wind, I'm kind of back on the 50-yard line, but I can just tell you that I actually worked a game at the beginning of a hurricane, and they had sandbags on my legs, literally, so I wasn't gonna, I'm dead serious. They actually started the shot panning up from the sandbags on my legs to find me. So Mother Nature better come with more than this. This is nothing from what I'm used to, so. But look, I'm thrilled to be back here. Boston Uncornered folks, you're stuck with me. Mark, Michelle, you guys are stuck with me, but Mark, Michelle, Debbie, Miriam, Jackie, all the teams behind those people. Thank you so much for including me, for letting me throw out a few ideas every now and then, some eye-rolling moments. Oh, really? We're going to change the whole program? Okay, that's all right. But you know, last year, we had a virtual program for those of us who may have known or not, and it's very ambitious, and it was worth it because we raised $650,000 last year. Now, I could be really obnoxious and say, why don't we top that this year? But, I mean, girl has to dream, right? You know, what can I say? But I think that it is really important that we're in person, and it's so great to see people in person here. Certainly, for those of you who cannot make it, we're going to see you on the recording. But the bottom line is that we're all here together to celebrate and learn more about Boston Uncornered. And those of us who are here or watching in the future, we know that you're here with us in spirit. So $650,000, or whatever we're going to raise tonight, where does that money go? Well, with these funds, Boston Uncornered continues to work through what we know have been some very tough times. At the height of the pandemic last year, 125 young people were supported with stipends. They also hired a full-time mental health clinician to provide support to both staff and students, which is huge, huge. We all know the importance of mental health in whatever profession we are in. Now, look, I live in a world of sports and numbers. I don't like to get hung up on numbers, but sometimes numbers really can tell you a big story. So let me throw a couple of these out at you. A 2020 impact study found that between 2016 and 2018, incidents of crime were 3 times less prevalent in neighborhoods where Boston Uncornered students were most engaged. 9 of 10 Uncornered students did not return to violent activity. Statistics also show that 70% of Uncornered students matriculated to college, which is more than double the percentage of gang members who go to college nationally. That's a huge number, folks. And you want to know where your money goes? In the last 4 years alone, Boston Uncornered paid nearly $3 million in weekly stipends to the core influencers who were enrolled in schools. We're going to talk about these core influencers throughout the evening. Each Boston Uncornered student saves the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and taxpayers at least $70,000 per year. We're talking savings of $5.5 million to the city of Boston. The work they're doing here is huge, folks. All of this, I bring all of this to your attention to show what a difference and an impact your contributions make. Now look, this year's theme is celebrating milestones and honoring firsts. I know something about being firsts. I like to be first. There's a lot of firsts that we're going to see tonight, which is great. Here in the city of Boston, as Yanni just told us, we have obviously this very historic mayoral race with a diverse group of women and people of color. These are exciting times with milestones that are all worth celebrating. But Boston is not the only one celebrating. This evening, we celebrate all the victories that Boston Uncornered has in store for us. We're going to give you just a taste of the milestones that are debuting here. You're going to hear about them first. Now, we're going to hear from Mark Culleton and Michelle Caldera, the terrific co-founders. But last year, I mentioned obviously all the money that we raised, and we had an honoree, and that was Devin McCourty. And obviously, Devin, the star cornerback for the star safety, for the New England Patriots, can't be with us in person. But when we reached out to him and said, hey, listen, I'm back. Do you want to kind of come back in some capacity? I think it took him 5 seconds to say, what do you need? Because that's who Devin is. And the point is this, that we all showed up last year in some capacity, and it wasn't a one-year thing. For Devin McCourty, it was not a one-year deal.
Appreciate the introduction, Andrea. Devin McCourty here, and it's been an honor to work with Boston Uncornered the last couple years. Obviously because of all of the great work that they do, but really why I love it is it symbolizes what I've gone through in the NFL. I came in as a rookie, as a player, learned a lot from the guys ahead of me, and now I do the same thing. And when you really peel back Boston Uncornered, that's what it is. It's a bunch of men and women who use Boston Uncornered to become educated, get off the streets, get out of gangs, get a nice allowance every week to go out there, have that stipend to now improve their lives. And not only did they improve their lives and be able to now raise families, take care of their kids, instead of going and doing something else, a lot of those men and women have decided to come back into the program. You meet guys like Will and Lou, those guys that have now become even bigger. And Francisco, they've taken on leadership roles. They stay in the same neighborhood. Now they're trying to take the young kids, the kids that looked up to them, and show them a different path. And you look at Ruben, another guy who's gone through the program as a student, who is now back as an intern, trying to do those same things. And I look at the Boston Uncornered program, and I see all of the great work they do, and it's strictly because of the people that's involved from the top all the way to the bottom, who care about the people, other people first. And it's the reason why I still play football. It's the reason why I enjoy being in the locker room, because I get to pour into young men who come into the league, whatever different family situations, and we get to talk about how to be successful. And Boston Uncornered decides that we're going to talk about how to be successful, how to go to school, graduate college, have a degree, be able to look at your kids and say, hey, I want you to go to school because I went and finished school this time last year or 2 years ago. And I know when I've heard those stories, that has opened my heart. It's made me emotional at times, just seeing what people have done to get their life back on track and move in a direction that a lot of them never really saw. So Boston Uncornered continues to do great work. They continue to pour into individuals. And that's why I love being a part of Boston Uncornered. I hope the stories you listen to, hearing me talk, will make you want to get involved more, make you figure out how you can help, because the time is now to help out Boston Uncornered and get involved. Thank you.
If you feel inspired to donate, that's terrific. You can find a QR code with a link to donate on the lanterns on all your tables, on the programs that are on your chairs, or on your screen at home. There's going to be a QR code that you will be able to see, and if you feel so motivated, we ain't going to turn it down. Let's put it that way. And now I want to bring up the brain trust of Boston Uncornered. Please welcome Mark Culleton, Michelle Caldera, and the new executive director of Boston Uncornered. So, look, you say it's obviously been tough the past year. How has Boston Uncornered, the movement, but also the students, been impacted by the pandemic?
Here's what we want people to know. Boston Uncornered team, the staff, the mentors, the CRAs, the students, the board, has been amazing. Certainly, there have been challenges. We have not escaped the chaos that many have seen. There has been a lot of loss. There's been a lot of some fighting. But what we want people to know is that folks are strong, that we are a team, that we are ready to fight in a good way, fight for what we know our young people need, fight for what we know our community needs, and fight for what we know Boston needs. And that is stronger communities, that's healthy communities, that's safe communities. So we're trying to end gang violence in Boston and beyond, and I think we can do that with this team.
It's now been 5 years since you co-founded Boston Uncornered. I don't know if that's a long time or if that just seems like yesterday. I'm not sure. But what are the lessons that you feel that you've learned at that time, during that period of time, that you can now apply moving forward?
So the first thing I would say is that it's possible. I think when we started it, nobody believed it was possible, one, for a gang member to graduate from college, or two, for core influencers to be the solution, and now we know it's possible. And that if we believe, yeah, exactly. And that if those of us with choices believe and give autonomy, power, and possibility to core influencers, that they really can, as you pointed out, make a huge difference. And learning that was huge. And that if we continue to be curious and ask questions, that we can not only impact this city, we can go beyond and impact this country.
Michelle, when Mark talks about core influencers, bring us beyond those two words. What do they really mean to people who may not fully understand the concept?
I think one of the things that I've been saying that I like to say is that core influencers, Andrea, are no different than you or me. They're not different. Alex and Mike and Jarrell, we are all the same. We have hopes, we have dreams, we just need opportunities and resources to realize those dreams. And so, you know, when we talk about core influencers and people who can really be leaders in their community, in their network, in their family, we're talking about young people that can be the solution. So that's what we're talking about. You know, we're not separating them from you or me.
I always like to say, by the way, no problems, only solutions. And I love that the idea of Boston Uncornered is all about solutions. So look, the template has been set, been pretty successful. There's a lot of work still to be done here in Boston, but how can you take that template and maybe expand a little bit on it, would you say?
So
I have no idea. That's why I turned to Michelle. I was like, I didn't know we were doing that, but that sounds exciting.
So the template has been set, but not completely set, right? 5 years, and to your question, is that a long time or not a long time? What we are doing, we feel really good about a lot of the statistics that you mentioned. There's been a lot of success, a lot of milestones. But we have a lot of work left to do. There's still a lot of building that we need to do, and that's why we're happy that we have this community and that we have new team members and new family on board. I think folks are, again, strong and ready to move forward.
I would just quickly add that in all seriousness, we know that gang violence is a problem throughout the country, but in the learning that we've done at Boston Uncornered, we know that it's possible for that to end. And that if we continue to have this point of view that we can do this if we get beyond our fear and allow formerly active gang members to be the solution, that this is something that can happen in Boston, Providence, Philly, Detroit, and that there are groups out there that are doing this and that are learning along with us. And if we can help to support that and raise up this idea that former gang members, active gang members, core influencers can do it, that this country can be fundamentally different in the next 5 years.
Aiming high, I like that. Never forgetting where you came from, but also aiming high. It certainly is a noble goal. I want to obviously speak to Tito in just 1 second, but we have to acknowledge the people and the companies that are making an impact and are so instrumental in making this event possible tonight. We have the Freeze Family Foundation. Of course, we thank WS Development from the Seaport for hosting this wonderful event, and the Uncornered Photo Project, which will be up until September 15th. So if you want to see at least the three of us larger than life, you can throw darts. Well, not darts, but please feel free to try to see it before the 15th. And of course, also Adage Capital Management, we thank them. These are just a few of the companies who have stepped up to support Boston Uncornered. And look, although the pandemic is still in the back of our minds, we do want to offer you the opportunity to donate. So here's the QR code. Finally, I'm getting it right here. So if you want to donate, please feel free to do so. But I don't know, do you think there needs to be some rookie hazing here? Do we think we need it? There's been plenty of that? All right.
We're not even sure who he is, actually.
Well, you know what? We are about to find out who Tito Santos Silva is, the brand new, on a night when we're talking milestones and firsts, the brand new Executive Director of Boston Uncommon, Tito Santos Silva.
Thank you.
Welcome, congratulations, good luck with these two, let me tell you.
I got my work cut out for me, you see that?
Yeah,
huh?
right. But I think it's important for people to have some sense of who are you? Where did you come from? What is the path that brought you to this point in your life? Just give us a quick encapsulation, if you would.
Yeah, I'll try to wrap it up quick. I'm a kid from Brockton. I grew up first generation immigrant. I watched my community, the kids in my community, my cousins, my friends, neighborhood kids fall victim to gun violence. I thought I had it figured out, went to a private university, and then my best friend was killed. And I went really down a bad path, and I struggle with gang violence and street violence. And if it wasn't for people like my brother Jonathan and my wife Missy, who are here today, who believed in me and like really told me I could do something different and pushed me to go back to school and see firsthand, like I know firsthand how education can change your life and how it can provide you with opportunities. I know firsthand what it's like to be on those street corners, what it's like to be the victim of gang violence. I know what it's like also, though, to be in a boardroom and to be in a private institution. And so I just hope that I can be a bridge to provide opportunities for the young people and to shed light on the great work that the staff are doing every single day. Like, what I do is easy. This is easy talking to everybody. Like, they're the ones doing the real work. So if I can just spread a little bit of light on that, you know, then I think I did my job. And I just spent the last 10 years doing this type of work.
I think it's just so tremendous that you do have this varied background. You've got the education, you've been on the street corners, you are able to bring so many wonderful life experiences to this point. What does an executive director do?
I'll be honest. I think it's the easiest job in the work, right?
He's here to help me with this one. So.
Well, you see, I'm working with him, so. But no, I think honestly, it's the easiest job in the field. Like, I've spent 10 years in it. I was a floor staff. Like, what they do is harder than what I do. I just got to talk to people. This is easy. I can talk to anybody. Like, my brother and my wife will tell you, I'll talk to anybody. I make friends everywhere. But what they do every day, getting up and chasing down these young men and helping them to believe in themselves and encouraging them to do the right thing and loving them and fighting for them when they don't even want to fight for themselves, like, that's the real work. This is easy. Executive director, we smile and nod and encourage your guys to give some money, which We'll get that QR code for y'all too. But they're the ones doing the real work.
In terms of the goals for the organization, I mean, it's great to have fresh blood, fresh eyes, fresh perspective that comes in, especially with the 10 years of experience, as you point out, that you have. What do you think you can bring to Boston Uncornered moving forward?
Like I said, I think I can be a bridge, right? I can provide an opportunity for people to see what I see in the young people every day. Their skills, their abilities, their talents, all the things that we want to just look at and kind of dismiss. There are skills there. There are opportunities there that like a city like Boston could use those resources. And I just hope to be a bridge for them, but also to continue to provide opportunities. So we're not the only organization that the leadership is diverse, right? Like to create more opportunities and spaces for the staff members to be in these seats. For the next executive director of Boston Uncornered to be a young man or a young woman who came up through the program from Boston, unapologetically from Boston, and is sitting in this seat.
Yeah, that's a tremendous goal in itself. And look, you keep mentioning the work, which would not be possible without the mentors, without the college readiness advisors, the CRAs, as Boston Uncornered calls them. The growth of these mentors has a direct effect on the students and the community. Now, before we meet one of these special young men, let's hear from and I love this word, the change makers who are at the center of the work of Boston Uncornered.
I'm Will Dunn, Director of College Readiness Advisors for the Uncornered program. I came to Uncornered program 5 years ago, and my path of being a knucklehead gang member as a juvenile got me to the stage where I try to give back to this program to help change people's lives.
Hi, my name is Ruben Silva. Currently a student intern with Boston Uncornered. I started off on the journey as a student, and I got to see the works that is done for the students that's come into the program. And recently I have been given the opportunity to work as a student intern and bring the same opportunities that was brought to me to the community and for the same students that was initially going through the same thing as I'm going through or was going through.
Francisco DePina, I'm a College Readiness Advisor Director. I've been with our organization for 15 years. I started as a student, started learning, growing, totally different person today. My passion for helping out my community and those who, others tend to leave behind is why I'm still here with the organization.
Hi, my name's Alex Diaz. I'm from Uncornered. I've been with Uncornered for several years now. I'm an intern now. I graduated with them. They had me get my high set, graduated from college. My CRA was Francisco DePina. Everything that they do for us is like motivated, being on us, not letting us down, always being there for us and being the most supportive people that you can ever have on your back and on your team. College Bound Uncornered really saved my life and took me from under corner.
I'd like to introduce you to Alex Diaz.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
So I want y'all to know that it was a couple of years ago that I sat, just like you guys are, and I listened to the story of an Alex Diaz, and that's what cemented my passion for Boston Uncornered. So I'm very interested to hear about your story. So just as I sort of asked Tito, just to give us an idea of the path that brought you here, what you feel comfortable sharing of what has your life been like to this point, the ups and downs that you can share.
So I had troubles too as a teen. I chose the wrong path. I got incarcerated for 8 years for capital crimes, for kidnapping, carjacking, armed robbery. I know people hear that and they be like, oh, this guy's, But being in there, I was always talking to my CRA, which is Francisco DePina, and because he was the only one that would pick up my phone calls all the time. So I grew up with him since we was kids, and him just being always on my back and telling me like, try this out, and I would tell him on the phone constantly like, I can't, you know, I'm not ready for that. I need to come home and I need to do what I gotta do to make sure that I'm right and get more money and make sure I got my daughter's support. At the time, I only had one daughter, and I tried the program out, and to be honest, it was the most best experience I ever had, because having these people on my back, having these people help me when anything I needed help. I had CRAs come to my house in the middle of winter to make sure I was all right, and having that support helped me help them.
What was... What was something that Francesco did or said that made you realize that paying attention to Boston Uncornered, this crazy program, was going to make a difference for you?
What really stuck into my head was he had told me one time was like, if you have kids and you have your kids asking you all the time, like, I mean, you telling your kids to go to school, and your kids are telling you, but you didn't go to school. How do you explain that to your kids? Like, you know, so I had to do it for myself and my daughter and my family, and being the first male family at my family to go to college and graduate.
You want to know what a role model is? That's a role model. That's literally a role model. What are you doing now? What are you doing now with Boston Uncornered?
So now I'm an intern to become a CRA, thanks to my Uncornered team, and hopefully I become a CRA soon. The first one, yes, me and Ruben are one of the first interns to become a CRA, thanks to this program.
So here's one thing that I'm really curious about, and I've heard this from some other folks. I want to see if I can try to spit this question out. When you go back into some of your old neighborhoods and you see some of the former gang members, and you come in here and you're now educated, how does that resonate for them? What does that mean to them when they look at you? Do they think that you did get out, that you did make a step, or what do they make of you? I'm just trying to understand, but put us in your shoes when you go back as this changed person.
To be honest, I think sometimes it's hard for some people to see it, but when they see you actually doing it, I think it encourages them, and it tells them like, okay, he's trying to change. It's not like, you know, being from a neighborhood and being from a gang, I know it seems bad, but as you move forward and once you do what you got to do, as these people help me, it shows them that I'm not in that life no more. I don't want to be part of that life no more. You know, I went from being able to be phone call and being to go do something to now everybody's calling me about school, and I like that type of feeling. So I like the people to see that what I'm doing is not like, you know, just trying to change. I'm trying to help everybody too, change myself and change other people that grew up. So they see me as a role model still.
Add real quickly, I mean, I think two things is, one is that persistence of like Francisco picking up the calls from jail like every day, and Alex saying nope, 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 until they finally say yes. But also this idea that even the most active guy or woman has a part of them that wants to be out, that wants to do the right thing, and just needs people in their lives, people around them that says, yes, there's a way. And a huge part of the stipend is saying, we're investing in you. We believe in your ability to make those positive choices. But even the most active guy also has a part of him that wants to do the right thing. And we just have to be there for them and show up.
When you hear Mark say this, can you relate exactly to what he's saying?
Yes, definitely. Just like having the people not give up. Even Mark, I knew Mark for years, and Mark never gave up on me. And always, like, this is one guy, like, I really look up to, because he's always on my back about it, like, even with the vaccine shot, you know? And I appreciate it so much. Like, I appreciate it so much, because, you know, but having these people on your back is such a blessing.
Hey, let's give it up for Alex Diaz. Just amazing to hear from him. Listen, thank you so much for sharing your personal experiences. We're going to cede the stage to Mr. Culleton for a moment, so let's all exit this way.
This evening is about milestones, and it's about transitions and opportunities. And so a big part of that, obviously, is the role that Tito has come into play at Boston as the first ever executive director of Boston Uncornered, really to lead the implementation work here, right? All of this is built on a board of directors that has taken the leap with Michelle and I into this crazy idea of an organization that's been in the community for 100 years. And we said, believe in the power and possibility of active gang members. And they were like, what? Okay, we're in. So I want the board members to stand up who are here and to recognize those who are watching. Woo! So the board, too, is going through a transition, and my good friend who I love dearly, Mike OToole, who's been the board chair for the last either 5 years or 50 years, it's hard to tell. Sometimes college-bound years seem like decades. Sometimes they go by like that. But Mike has been just this incredible, steadfast rock in the organization that's allowed us to try all these incredible ideas and to get people to believe in the possibility of core influencers. And so I'm deeply grateful to Mike for his leadership, for his friendship. And I just came across this from Oscar Wilde that says, the smallest act of kindness is worth more than the grandest intentions. And Mike lives kindness every day. So love you, Mike. Come on up.
So I've got a job here to do that I'm really excited about, which is to introduce the next board chair. But of course, I have been reflecting on my tenure, 5+ years, right? So just a couple things I wanted to share. And it's funny, when I was thinking about my 5 years, I didn't go to the poets, but I did think of this interview with Alice McDermott. She's a novelist that I really love. And she said in this interview that mercilessness is as much a component of the truth as luck and grace. Mercilessness is as much a component of the truth as luck and grace. Like, I know that's a really dark way to open my remarks here, right? But I am Irish, and so it speaks to me. But like, this mission can be merciless, right? You talked about it as a crazy mission. You did too, Andrea. It's, when your mission is, we're going to convince former gang members to leave the street corners, go to college, not only to change themselves, but to change their communities. When that's your mission, there's a lot of merciless, right? But there are also so many moments of luck and grace. And those moments in my tenure have been so intertwined in really interesting ways. And there's two moments that in particular that was true. One, the first, I'm going to just share them. The first was within months of me becoming board chair. We had a shooting. And, the shooting itself, unfortunately, isn't that rare. The gun violence is very close to so many people in the organization. But the shooting happened in the log school, within our facility, and that had never happened before. They'd always been safe havens. And, fast forward to 2020, by then, Uncornered was being seen as a real answer to so many of the problems that we're facing as a country. And there was national attention, and maybe one of our highest points ever, Andrea, was the event you talked about that you hosted so beautifully. There was momentum. We raised all that money. I mean, grace, luck, the fruits of a great vision and hard work, they were all there in abundance. But the merciless part comes, right? 2 weeks after, I think the hardest time in my tenure as board, Rachel, I see you shaking your head, was last summer. The most merciless. The early COVID economy was brutal. And there were so many other notes of like grace and goodwill. Funders stayed, almost all of them. A bunch of new ones came aboard. Our board hung in there. It grew and changed a lot, but we added some great people. Summer, I don't know if Philly is here. Jarrell came on that time. What a terrible time to join the board, by the way. I don't know what you guys were thinking. I know. They learned, though. They learned. And you know, today, what a difference a year makes, right? So like we are, as you've heard, serving more students in more ways than ever. We have this new leadership, Will Dunn, Cisco, Inita, who have come up through the ranks. And Tito, who you've lived the challenges of our students, your achievements are maybe the best example of the mission I can think of. I get to introduce our next board chair, and I'm really excited to do it because he's absolutely the right guy to lead us to our next era. And it's funny, only time I met Jarrell was through Zoom. Tonight was the first face-to-face. It's so weird. He's taller in real life, and I'm shorter in real life, so Zoom is a great equalizer that way. But we have a lot in common. Well, for one, that we both love high-risk, high-reward social change missions, right? Like, we're signing up for that. But we both have 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. We both, as it turns out, have really important Mollies in our life. My daughter and your wife, we haven't met yet, but... and we were both English majors, which I didn't know. And I think that means you understand the power of story, right, to move people. But what I love about Jarrell is he joined the board during the toughest of times. He signed up for a mission that has never been fashionable and won't ever be fashionable, and can be merciless at times. And he is a talented man. He's got vision, energy, he's got a network. He's got a lot of opportunities to be a leader in this city, and we all benefit from the grace and good luck that he said yes to this one. Thank you, Jarrell. So Jarrell Engerman.
Okay, kudos to you for your amazing work, but I feel like we have to pass the torch or pass the baton. How about a little chair? A chair? So you can pass the chair to the next board chair. Thank you.
I know you're a little shorter than me, but I don't know if I can.
Work on the squats. There you go. We just have a couple minutes here to finish up, but congratulations. This is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's an honor, really.
Give us just a sense as we talked with Tito, as we talked with Alex, of your path getting here from Mattapan.
I will try to keep it short, as you said, Tito. You know, it really started at a young age. I was a Metco student going back and forth between Boston and Concord. It really gives me, I think it gave me a unique perspective about our city and where we're trying to go. I think when we're looking at networks and making connections throughout our city, it was really Jim McDonough, our head of development, that had brought me in to the organization. And I was just so moved, like you said, by putting the power in the hands of the change makers, right? And what seems high risk also seems to make sense in a really crazy way, right? And so it makes a good fit for me and for the organization.
As the first person of color to be chair of this board, what is that significance both to you as well as to the people that you will come across, that will walk through the doors of Boston Uncornered?
You know, when Mark asked me to join the board and then to be board chair, and Mark is merciless when he wants something, right? And, you know, I kind of thought it through for a while. You know, it took me a little bit to get my mind wrapped around the potential power that, you know, having a board chair, having representation could mean for the students and for the organization. And I've seen it in my personal life, my children, and I've seen it work really well with the organization. And, you know, for me, that's why I'm here, right? That's why I'm sitting here. If I can lend my platform and lend my network and you know, help move this movement along, that will be success for me.
You got some big shoes to fill. There's no question. There's no doubt. You got some big shoes to fill.
Right.
What can your goals be in this new position to move Boston Uncornered forward in such a positive way?
You know, when I think about goals, it's funny because, like Mike said, like Tito, I have never felt less in control of something, but apparently at the helm of it, than this movement. And honestly, that is part of the power, right? To have Francisco, to have Will, to have them be the people who are doing the work. I view it similar to what you said, Tito. It's not really that difficult for us in that sense, right? And so as long as we continue to kind of be passionate about this mission, and everyone is so incredibly passionate about this mission, I think we're just going to continue to move forward. This is just going to get like a snowball down a hill, kind of moving forward. So,
well, congratulations to Jarrell. But look, he may be the new guy on the block, but this is a team effort. Come on back up as we close this program tonight. Let's say thank you and congratulations to the past, to the present, and to the future of Boston Uncornered. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Can't wait to see what the future has in store for us as we move on. I want to say a special thanks to everyone who is involved, who has joined us for such a memorable evening. This is only the beginning. If it resonated with you, if you are looking to engage, and I love that word, to be part of the solution, please join the Uncornered movement. Again, scan the QR code. What would I be if I didn't have one more appeal here? Thank you. Have a good evening, whether you're here live or you're joining us in the recording, and we'll see you next year. Thank you.
I'm going to steal Andrea's mic because we cannot end this without saying thank you to Debbie Mahes, who is the foundation of all of us. Thank you, Debbie, for leading us along. And while I have the mic, I do want to say, I know Representative Liz Miranda was here earlier this evening. I want to thank her. Devin Edwards is here from Representative Russell Holmes' office. Thank you for being here. I see David Halbert here. Hi, my good friend Dave, who is a friend to the organization and candidate for city council. So good luck, Dave.
Yeah.
Go
if
vote.
Not, you got a job here. So.
You do.
Merciless.
So thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you so much. I do want to echo one last time. I know, Andrea, you closed it up, but I stole your mic. This is about telling stories and amplifying stories and lifting them up. So everything Tito said and Jarrell said about letting people know who we are and who our young people are, this is what Boston Uncornered is. And just tell everybody, uncornered.org.
We could have some like really sort of kitschy ending, you know, when everybody huddles up and they go uncornered on 3. So, ready? Uncornered on 3. Uncornered! Woo! Thanks for coming, folks. Have a great evening. Drive safely. Stay healthy.